I personally think that the future of pharmacological drug design and pharmacology in general should be meant to mimic these sorts of symbiotic beneficial relationships that exist between plants and humans and fungi and humans as well. I think that, well, firstly, a lot of pharmaceutical medicine is derived from natural isolates or constituents of herbal medicines or fungal medicines or traditional medicines of any kind. I think that the thing is, since the age of agriculture, a lot of plants and fungi have evolved symbiotically to meet the needs of humans and to benefit them in ways beyond just, nutrition. It also can act as defense against pathogens, and in the same way that fungi that are mycorrhizal, that is, that ones that inhabit the root networks of plants, usually help the plants by making them more resistant to pathogens. A lot of fungi are immunomodulatory, immunostimulants, and so eating them offers just a natural pathogen defense against a host of viruses and bacteria. A lot of plants like skullcap, the common tea, has bicalin, which is an mRNA transcriptase inhibitor. So it inhibits the enzymes that allow viruses to propagate. So a lot of these have evolved in favor of benefiting humans, and I think we should look into that. We should try to make that our primary focus.
In terms of genetically modifying them so that they're...
In terms of just making drugs in general, we often want to patent purely synthetic substitutes. Obviously there's nothing wrong with that if it's controlled and carefully trialed, but too often do these drugs have extra pyramidal side effects in that they offset a bunch of other targets.
I was reading this article about this bug. Essentially, like, it can digest plastic, like it has some sort of...
Oh, the waxworm.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah. And it metabolizes, plastics into propylene glycol.
I was wondering if there was like any more progress with that research, because I know they're trying to identify the property that's actually like doing it, and then like maybe produce it synthetically. But
oh yeah, absolutely. You could take the enzymes in waxworms that catalyze that metabolic path, and you can splice the genomic sequence for those enzymes, and you can add them to E. coli. You can add them to yeast, these really easy to grow organisms that are very simple to cultivate. You could genetically modify yeast to have the same genomic sequences that the waxworms have to dissolve that plastic and degrade it into, propylene glycol and water and carbon dioxide. Just degrade plastic really rapidly. I think the future of getting rid of our plastic and litter problem is through GMOs, actually. GMO yeast and E. coli. And Paul Stamets is a professor who talks a lot about this. He has a TED Talks called 6 Ways Mushrooms Can Save the World. And he talks about mushrooms that do this.
Cool.
That remediate plastic and oils and stuff.
Wow, that's so crazy.
And you could take the genomic sequences from those mushrooms and spice them into something like yeast or E. coli. Because the main limit is getting the oyster mushrooms to grow in this substrate filled with plastic and landfill. It's also very expensive to grow oyster mushrooms on such a large scale.
Like regular oyster mushrooms?
Yeah, just regular oyster mushrooms.
What?
Can do that. Yeah,
They
and
can
shiitake mushrooms degrade plastic.
Degrade plastic?
Yeah, they work into the Krebs cycle, the polymers. Usually they're fatty acid polymers, and they can metabolize them, they can hydrolyze them into individual monomers, which are just fatty acids, and then use that for energy.
I had this theory the other day about how essentially like the action of nature, if nature were to have an action, it would be to fully externalize itself so that it eventually creates life, and then that life eventually evolves to be so intelligent that it can create technology, and then through that technology they can experience every moment of their experience and like essentially put it in an archive and access it, because nature itself doesn't have eyes, so it creates life to have eyes for it, to witness the beauty of it, I guess.
Oh yeah, and humans are almost doing that themselves now with machinery.
That's what I mean, but
we're
that's
living vicariously through machinery now.
That's just an externalization, of nature still, though.
Yeah, it's perceiving itself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's living vicariously.
Exactly, through all of its inhabitants.
Yeah.
There's so many animals and stuff who thrive in incredibly difficult places to live, like up in the mountains and stuff, like snow leopards and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
You
What
know?
about under the ocean? Those fucking
Under the
disgusting
ocean,
fish
too,
that
yeah.
eat what-
Oh yeah.
I guess the extent that life or that nature will go to in order to view its own beauty is pretty extraordinary.